Live from WTVO 17 and your home team. Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
A plane crashes during takeoff at the Rockford airport. We're live on the scene with the latest.
A former Rockford grocery store may soon see a new tenant. A local nonprofit that helps the homeless has plans for the property.
And the physical effects of COVID are sticking around even after patients are virus-free. The lingering symptoms can be more than physical. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. We continue to follow a developing news story at the Rockford airport. A plane caught fire while on the runway. It's about 2.5 hours ago.
Emergency crews are still on the scene. Alexis Carpello joins us live now with the very latest. Alexis?
Good evening, Eric and Mimi. I'm live near the corner of Black Hawk and Falcon, which is in the southeastern part of the airport. Where off camera, I spoke with a neighbor who had heard this accident, and he said it sounded like a bomb had gone off. 30 minutes ago, airport officials gave us an update on the crash. And here's what we know so far. The plane, which is a King Air 200, was taxiing down the runway at 3:40. 2 minutes later, a report came in of a fire on the airfield. Only the pilot was on board. The airport tells us that person never made it out of the plane, but will not confirm if they died. Several emergency response agencies came out to help, but now only the airport's fire rescue team is here. The flames were big enough to burn a large area of grass. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board are on their way, but for now, RFD says it has no idea why the plane caught fire. Officials did tell us to expect another update sometime tonight. You know, this is causing a ripple effect where Allegiant flights are making their way still here where they're scheduled to arrive tonight. And they will be delayed, but again, they're going to be able to still arrive here at the airport. We're going to continue to monitor this and give you updates on this breaking news story, so make sure to stay with us here at Eyewitness News. But for now, I'm live in Rockford. For your home team, I'm Alexis Carpello.
All right, Alexis, thanks for that live update.
The bench trial for the Rockford man accused of gunning down 3 men inside a party bus goes into its 3rd day. For the 2nd day, Raheem King's defense made its case. They say King fired his gun as an act of self-defense after 2 guns were pointed at him. But during an interview with a Rockford police detective following the incident, his sister, who was on the bus at the time, said King told everybody on the bus to put their hands up before firing. During his testimony yesterday, King said all 3 men were armed, but his sister wasn't sure if they had weapons or not when she talked to police on April 7th. Closing arguments are expected tomorrow.
It's been 6 years since Schnucks shut down its grocery store on Rural Street. Finally, it looks like someone will be moving in.
Brittany Toulis reports it comes in the form of a nonprofit dedicated to helping the area's homeless.
Eric and Mimi, this former Schnucks has sat vacant for over half a decade, but it could soon be hustling and bustling with new business. Carpenter's Place is under contract to purchase the property on Rural and Prospect. The nonprofit serves Rockford's homeless population by providing a day center or home base for people in need. Their services include things like showers, meals, a place to store their belongings, and even an address so they can get important mail sent to them. But I'm told plans for this property are very different. Alderman Tony Gasparini tells me right now initial plans are for Carpenter's Place to open up what he calls a high-end Goodwill type store. Although he and the people living nearby have called for another grocery store to move into this spot, he says a business of any kind going into this building will be good for the community.
It's an empty parking lot. I mean, I drive by that every single day. It's an empty lot. It's horrible to look at. It's sad, and I think to have a neighbor there that we can trust and that we can support, I think that's wonderful.
Coming up at 9 and 10, we'll hear more from Alderman Gasparini about the possible project. For now, in Rockford for your home team, I'm Brittany Toulis.
Illinois workers are getting back on the job. According to the State Department of Employment Security, the unemployment rate dropped to 11.3% in July. That's more than 3 percentage points lower than June, but still sits higher than the national rate of 10.2%. The addition of 93,000 jobs helped. Most of those were in leisure and hospitality and education and health services.
While unemployment is falling, cases of COVID continue to climb in Illinois. The state reported more than 1,800 new cases in the last 24 hours. 27 people have died, among them a man from Winnebago County in his 70s. The 7-day positivity rate sits at 4.4%. Since testing started, more than 3.5 million Illinoisans have been tested. Local doctors are still learning what some of the long-term effects of COVID will be. A recent report in the Journal of the American Medical Association shows 80% of patients still show symptoms 2 months after the first symptoms appear. Fatigue and shortness of breath seem to stick around the longest. Effects aren't limited to physical. Some who require time in intensive care units are facing psychological fallout in the form of post-traumatic stress disorder.
And that's could last few months. And they need social support and family support and sometimes need antipsychotic medication to recover.
Dr. Zeter says Swedes is seeing fewer COVID patients with about 2 or 3 cases in the ICU every week. At the peak, there were more like 2 or 3 new cases every day.
The new school year means a COVID testing site is on the move. The community-based drive-through testing site at Auburn High School is relocating. Starting Monday, Crusader Community Health will set up shop at the former Schnucks at the Rockton Avenue Shopping Center. Testing will be available Monday through Friday. An appointment is not needed. A local hospice celebrates the veterans it serves by giving back. Heartland Hospice was recently named a Level 5 partner within We Honor Veterans. The program gives recognition to care hospice providers give to vets. In response, Heartland started Operation Gratitude. The 2-day fundraiser aims to raise money for local honor guard groups that help lay veterans to rest.
All the money that's collected today from Operation Gratitude will be split amongst the local volunteer honor guard groups. And that will enable them to purchase items that they need to continue to fulfill their mission. And so we're honored to be able to support them.
This was the first year for Operation Gratitude. One of Northern Illinois' best kept secrets is right here on Rockford's west side.
Elliot Grandia takes us to Tinker Swiss Cottage. It's this week's Destination Illinois.
Just inside city limits, look back in time.
We still have the imprint on the floor where the old potbelly stove sat.
Tinker Swiss Cottage. It's a destination for history buffs and anyone interested in experiencing life as it was back in the old Victorian era.
Built his cottage between 1865 to 1870.
It's built by a man named Robert Tinker.
So Robert Tinker was what we like to joke around as Shark Tank of Rockford.
And it's not hard to see why. He helped run an oatmeal company, a steel company, a railroad company, even serving a term as mayor. And the list goes on.
So this guy just kind of had his hands all over the city.
Robert built this cottage, and we use that term loosely. It's actually a 22-room mansion, but he built it as a winter getaway for him and his wife, who also had a mansion just upstream on Kent Creek, modeling it after a trip overseas.
He fell in love with Swiss architecture as he was traveling in Europe in 1862, and so we're actually one of just a very small handful of homes still left in America that were modeled after a Swiss chalet.
And it's not just the unique architecture that draws in big crowds.
98% of what you see in the house is actually from the Tinker family. So it's basically like they just got up and left one day. So everything you see on display is from this one family.
And speaking of the Tinker family, many visitors claim, including our own tour guide, that their spirit lives on inside this cottage.
Occasionally we'll hear them whispering or humming. You'll hear footsteps. The dresses, from the old Victorian era dresses, they'll make that swishing sound, so you'll hear that sometimes.
So whether you're into ghosts or maybe artifacts over 100 years old, preserved in mint condition, Tinker Swiss Cottage offers nearly 24 rooms to explore.
That was Elliot Grandia reporting. Last year, Tinker Swiss Cottage attracted over 11,000 visitors. It opened to the public as a museum in 1943.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Plenty of sunshine to be had out there for us this afternoon. A live look with our South Sky Track camera now up in Beloit, Wisconsin. You see a few cirrus clouds kind of working in from the west and northwest this evening, all tied into a weak disturbance up to our northwest. That will pass to our north during the overnight hours and bring us just a couple of clouds here as we head through the night. 82 our temperature in Rockford, 79 in Belvedere, 77 in Freeport, and 81 right now in Dixon. Our weather watcher Jim just in Rockford this evening checking in with 82 and a dew point number of 56. So still pretty dry out there, which means as our temperatures have warmed today, it still felt fairly comfortable. High pressure remains the dominant feature for us, not only through tonight, but during the afternoon tomorrow. Each and every day, it's been sliding a little bit further to our east northeast and southeast, which has allowed those temperatures to slowly creep up here, and that trend continues. You can actually see some of that cloud cover moving in from the northwest and a couple of showers associated with that, but as it encounters that drier air, our skies will stay dry here as we go through the night tonight. Running Futurecast straight through, because really through tonight, tomorrow, and most of our Saturday, not a whole lot to talk about, just more of the same, as we'll see sunshine again tomorrow and temperatures back into the mid-80s. Still comfortable levels of humidity. Most of Saturday is looking dry. Here we are Saturday evening. We've actually got another system and a cold front working closer to us during the late afternoon and evening hours, and this could provide us a chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm during that time. And as a cold front moves in early Sunday, again, isolated shower thunderstorm chance, but that threat stays pretty low going into the weekend, and a lot of us will likely end up staying dry. Our temperature tonight down to about 59 degrees. Another beautiful evening for us. Just a couple of clouds moving in overhead. Our wind will stay light. We might see a little patchy fog as we do head into tomorrow morning. 86 for tomorrow afternoon. Another cool start. Skies will then turn partly cloudy as we go throughout the day as the wind does pick up from the southwest. Getting a little bit more active in the tropics here as of late is a couple tropical depressions we're keeping an eye on. 13 and 14 here, still well out into the Atlantic, but as we go through the weekend and early next week, kind of the conditions in the upper part of the atmosphere favoring those to potentially turn and move closer to the Gulf states early next week. So it's something to kind of keep an eye on. Tropical depression 13 encountering a little bit more dry air, so initially starting to kind of break apart just a bit, but still watching that as we could be talking more tropical storm and potentially hurricane working into the Gulf states next week. But a landfalling tropical system actually has somewhat of an impact on our weather. If this forecast holds and those two tropical systems do move into the Gulf here early next week, what it'll do is help create an area of high pressure and work to push that jet stream back to the north next week. Tropical systems are a great source of heat. They release a lot of heat, a lot of energy in the atmosphere. So underneath that high pressure system, we get a lot of sinking air. That creates that heat dome, which would allow our temperatures to warm into the 90s next week. Now, with that warm up comes a little opportunity for some rain. You see that chance for the weekend. Out of the next 7, guys, I think our best chance comes in on Thursday.
Now, the Mapleton Sports Desk with Samantha Rivera.
Well, he's just a rookie, but tight end Cole Kmet is already getting some pretty high remarks from the Bears, including veteran tight end Jimmy Graham. He says he even sees a little bit of himself in the Notre Dame alum.
His football intelligence and, his ability to soak in these plays and understand his assignments and, understand football and defenses is extremely impressive for a young kid who's, doesn't have a game under his belt. That's been the most impressive thing that I can say I noticed with him. Also, he's every bit of 260. He reminds me of a young me, and, he's got big legs and the amount of potential that the kid has and the amount of talent that he has is truly unbelievable.
Later tonight at 9 and 10, we will hear from Kmet himself and why the high praise from Graham means so much. Additionally, the Bears have announced they have placed cornerback Artie Burns on injured reserve after reports say he suffered a torn ACL. The team also signed receiver Rodney Adams. Over at Guaranteed Rate Field, the White Sox are going for a 4-game sweep over the Tigers. First inning, Chicago up 1-0. Nomar Masada hits the grounder to Willie Castro. Edwin Encarnacion out at second. Jose Abreu scores. White Sox up 2-0. Next batter, James McCann singles to right center. Eloy Jimenez scores. The White Sox go on to win 9-0. Lucas Giolito with a great performance. A good day for the guys in black and white. Following the Mid-American Conference announcing the postponement of the fall sports seasons, Northern Illinois University's Director of Athletics, Sean T. Frazier, says more financial cuts are making their way to the school's athletic department. In an email to NIU fans and supporters, Frazier explains they project a 23% decrease in revenue in 2020-2021. The school was prepared to lose $3 million after spring sports were canceled, but with more challenges, they now expect more budget cuts. Frazier is asking alumni and supporters to donate and help their situation if they can. That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
All the sunshine we've had has been really nice, but we could use some rain. It's been dry.
We do have some coming this weekend, but Candace, you said that that's not going to make a huge difference in our deficit, right?
Yeah, you know, you got just a small chance of that rain coming in Saturday and then into Sunday. And the latest drought monitor coming out from the National Drought Mitigation Center shows those abnormally dry conditions expanding now for Ogle, Lee, and even DeKalb counties, and then out to Chicago. Areas that really have been hard pressed here over the past several weeks to get any significant and decent rainfall. Our August deficit over 2.5 inches below where we should be. Meteorological summer, June, July, August, we've had just a little over 7 inches. Still puts us at 4 inches below where we need to be for that almost 3-month span. Little rainfall here for the weekend. Temperatures really warming up, guys. Could see those 90s return as we head into next week.
But that is going to be a hot end to August.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you at 10.
Stay safe.